Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Caught Lookin per usual. I'm your host, Meg, and joining me tonight are Jenell and Allie. Unfortunately, Nicole is feeling under the weather tonight, so she won't be able to join us. Feel better soon, Nicole.
Yeah, feel better, Nicole.
Yeah, I feel better.
We'll miss
Hello,
you.
everyone.
But we have a pretty solid week this week. We played the Cardinals and the Orioles. We were 1-2 against the Cardinals, and then 3-1 against the Orioles. Does that sound right?
Yeah, it feels like it wasn't a solid week, but it actually was just
Yeah.
because of those heartbreakers.
Yeah, exactly. I was like looking up all the games for, checking out the stats to remind myself what happened. And I'm like, oh, we actually kind of came out on top this week. But like, I think it's because of I think it's the Sunday and Monday losses, the 13-1 loss against Atlanta and then 9-3 against St. Louis. I think those two, and then kind of the heartbreaker against Baltimore on Friday night with Schneeman's grand slam, but still losing that game. It's kind of I think the losses were hard. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. We won 9-3 on Monday, but we lost the next two. I
I
think the
think
losses were just difficult.
anytime the bullpen is the reason we lose, it's kind of hard to stomach because they should be better than that. Um,
Hmm.
and the starting rotation's kind of been all over the place. Not this year. I mean, this year they've been pretty good. I guess the bullpen has been that one steady force that you can count on when the offense isn't good and the starters are good sometimes, but sometimes not. They were the one thing we could really rely on to be good, and then when they have a bad night, it's like, wait, everything else finally went right, and now this thing's going wrong. So those, I think the bullpen blown leads are harder to stomach, and those losses stick out and feel bigger than they really were at the end of the week.
Yeah, Vogt had a good quote during the post game, and he said something to the effect of, bullpens are only as good as their most recent game,
Hmm.
I think, which is kind of true. And honestly, even year to year, week to week, it can vary. And I think that this week they struggled a little bit, but we still have a solid group of guys.
We have
One,
also been very spoiled over the past couple of years by our bullpen. They've been so historically dominant that it's kind of skewed our perspective of what a regular quote unquote bullpen actually looks like from day to day play. So, yeah, I think sometimes we're just going to need to adjust our expectations a little bit. There are going to be bad games. There's 162. I know a lot of people say this, but just got to remind you.
I think that eighth inning has been a bit of a question mark too, and it's really awesome that Hunter Gaddis is back now. And I
Hmm.
believe on one of the broadcasts, Matt, Rick, and Andre talked about how Stephen Vogt has said that eighth inning is Hunter Gaddis's inning. Did not want to throw him right back out there coming off of rehab because he wanted him to kind of get his feet wet a little bit. But we saw him pitch an eighth inning the other day, and it went really well. And then Cade Smith probably had what was his cleanest save on the season. So I think a lot of that will
Hmm.
start to stabilize itself too now that we have guys back in their normal roles and it's not kind of open tryouts for that setup man role. We just have our normal guy back. So I'm hoping that starts to stabilize things out in the bullpen a little bit.
Someone, I think it was in the Discord, said Kate Smith just needed his emotional support setup, man.
I think that might have been Allie.
I said that on Twitter actually. He did. He just needed his emotional support setup man. He needed to feel right. Um,
Exactly.
yeah. So we're back to normal and things everything's fine.
Yep. I'll say I'm looking at Gaddis's stats right now. He's pitched in 3 games so far for 3 innings. So his first outing back was rough against St. Louis on the 13th. 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. But he came back out twice during the Baltimore series, once on the 17th and once on the 18th. 3 strikeouts on the 17th. He looked solid. He looked locked in. And then 2 strikeouts, 1 hit, 1 earned run on the 18th against Baltimore. So it looks like he's that, obviously the first outing back, I think it's going to be rough for anybody, especially coming off an injury, not having. Did he pitch at all during spring training? When did he get injured?
I
I
believe it
can't
was early
remember.
in spring training. Like he might have pitched some, but he didn't
He didn't have a real
pitch.
spring training.
Mm-mm.
He didn't have, so yeah, so definitely anybody who doesn't have a full spring training is going to feel weird and unsettled coming back. But locking in by game two like that, I hope we see more from him like that. So currently his ERA is at 6, but that doesn't explain the whole thing.
And what was his injury?
Oh, what
Was
was
it
his
shoulder?
injury?
Was it?
I want to say that it was some forearm muscle soreness or forearm inflammation, which is a little scary. That might not be right, though. I don't know if anyone is looking into that real quick.
I'm Googling it, but let's see here. Let me add clarifying terms to my search. It does say right forearm strain in early March.
So we don't like that, but it appears to not be an issue, so that's fine.
Yeah, hopefully just that quick little rehab stint is all he needs, and hopefully he'll be all right. I wasn't able to catch too much of the game today, but the guys looked good last night overall. I feel like they were looking steady. What was it, Friday night? Was that Tanner's game? Yeah,
Yes.
with
Yes.
The Schnee Grand Slam. That one,
Yeah.
that was disappointing. That was, I feel like, because Tanner overall had a good game that night. A lot of people are shitting on Tanner, but I think he's always been kind of an up and down type of guy regardless. And I think he started locking in. He went 6 innings and five strikeouts, three walks, no earned runs, four hits. Like for him, that's a pretty good stat line.
Yeah, I wonder
Um,
if maybe our expectations for starting pitching have been elevated a little bit because guys have been so good. Because Tanner Bybee has never really been bad. Like, he may not be, maybe Gavin Williams has a little bit higher of a ceiling, but I don't think I've ever thought, wow, Tanner Bybee is not worth the money we paid him. Like, he is just kind of a reliable guy, and he's going to keep you in the game.
I think part of it is some people they see the extension and they see him being called the ace of our staff. And I think that's where people get there. I think he's a very serviceable pitcher. And I think he should probably, especially in this current staff, probably be more like three or four. And I think he would be a fine latter half of the rotation guy. I really like Tanner. I like I think like I said, he's a very serviceable pitcher. I think he does exactly what we need him to do more often than not. But I think calling him the ace and is where people kind of get their hackles up when it comes to him. I I think in my mind with these current starting pitchers, I think it should be Gavin is your number one, Parker is your number two. Right now, Joey is looking like your number three.
Hmm.
Tanner's your four, Slade is your five.
Yeah, I think Tanner was kind of labeled as our ace a couple of years ago because
Hmm.
for a certain period of time he was, and he was
Yes.
handling it very well. But I think, this is no disrespect to Tanner, but he's just not that now. And that's, says more about what Parker Messick and what Gavin Williams and, Joey have been able to do.
Yes. Fully agree. Exactly. I definitely am not in the camp where I think we need to trade him or we need to send him down or we need to do. I think he works fine in this rotation as is. I think we just need to rework our expectations of him and what we can expect from him. I'm not mad about the extension. I'm not mad about him being a starting pitcher. I just think everybody kind of needs to rethink about where he belongs in this starting rotation.
I also
Um,
think, and numbers aside, so Tanner and Gavin debuted right around the same time.
mhm.
I think Gavin was a little bit more up and down. I think we've all seen the potential is there that he has some phenomenal games, but we also have seen him not make it out of the fourth inning because he's walked 10
Yep.
people. And
Mhm.
I think that we forget, like Tanner Bybee feels like such a veteran, but those guys have been around about the same amount of time. And I think Tanner was just able to find consistency a little bit quicker than Gavin was, even if Tanner doesn't end up being the same type of pitcher or the same caliber of pitcher that Gavin could be. I think it's nice to have a guy who is consistent and is reliable. When you look around and the starting rotation is full of young guys, like, and I totally hear that probably by the end of the year you maybe have Messick as your ace, or do you have Gavin Williams as your ace? I think that's a great problem to have. I look at
Mhm.
Tanner Bybee as that consistent veteran presence, which is a lot to put on him because again, he's not really older and he doesn't really have that much more experience compared to these other guys. But I almost look at him as like that stabilizing force in the starting rotation right now, which is a pretty young overall.
That is crazy to think about I do agree with you that Tanner kind of feels like the veteran of the group, even though now I'm curious, when did he debut? Okay, so
He
Gavin
was
debuted.
April
23, right?
2023. I just looked that up before I said all that to make sure that it was right.
Yeah,
I don't know what month Gavin was, but they both debuted in 2020.
June. He
June.
was
Okay.
he was June 21. I actually have all of their MLB profiles pulled up
Yeah.
right now. So
So
Gavin
he's
was,
got 2 months on
yeah.
Gavin, but
I don't know, there was something about Tanner when he first came up that he just felt now who knows, I could be, painting this with a different brush, but from what I remember in 23, he just felt big league ready.
yeah.
Like he came up and I don't know if he was up and down much.
I don't think so. I think
No.
just 2023 was such a rough year that like anytime that he was pitching, you could expect him to give us a quality start and we could win. Like it seemed like anytime we had a losing streak and then he would start, he would snap us out of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember who was supposed to be the starting rotation that year, but I do remember Tanner Bybee, Gavin Williams, and somebody else who's no longer with us being called up in the first half of the season. And suddenly it was like our starting rotation is all rookies.
Yeah. I think that's the year that
It
no,
was Shane
2023
Bieber got
wasn't.
hurt. Tristan
Was
was hurt.
Oh, it was 24 that Shane
Cal
got hurt.
was
Or did Shane get hurt again?
this was
I have no idea.
I'm trying to see
Shane
if I
was
can
up and
find it
down and
somewhere.
like hurt and like not really himself that year. 2024 was when he got hurt, like this 2 games into the season, and
Well, then that would
Yeah.
had a
mean
Tommy
late in
John.
23 is when he and Tristan were both hurt. But for some reason, I feel like this was happening early. Like Tanner got called up in April of that year and Gavin by June. Like I just don't remember them being that beat up, but I do remember guys being called up and pitching, and it's like, well, this clearly wasn't our plan for the season.
We had a lot of
And
pictures that year. I'm on I'm on
Because we
Wikipedia
had
right now and it's just
Savali
a
too at
straight,
that
yeah.
point, and
Yeah, Logan Allen. Was Peyton Battenfield a
yes,
starter?
that's the one I'm thinking of. He was the
Yeah.
third rookie that was called up that year.
Xavion
And I can't
Curry
get
was still
past
pitching for us at that
Peyton
point.
Collette.
mhm.
What a time.
2023 was a weird year,
You say these names and I'm like, man, that was 10 years ago, but
right?
it's only three and it just wasn't.
Nope, nope. That really was not that far ago.
Current Tanner Bybee is just 2022 Cal Control with better stuff.
It does kind of feel that way, actually.
I do wonder what we're talking about when we approach the end of the year. Like, we're asking a lot to assume it's the same five guys in question, but the starting rotation is really interesting. And Joey Cantillo was really good. Well, I want to say he was good today until he wasn't. The past two Joey Cantillo starts, he's been playing with fire a little bit. And it's been put guys on base, double play. I want to say bails you out, but you earned that double play. Go off, King. You could tell in the beginning of the game today that he just really wasn't feeling a lot of his pitches, and he only had one or two that were really working for him. And he made that stand up for a long time until it unraveled very quickly in what maybe that fifth inning, sixth inning. So not Joey Cantillo's best day, but he has been very good up until now. And it's impressive to see a guy who maybe doesn't really have it find a way to make it work for as long as he did. And then the bullpen was good today. So good day for the pitching staff. Good day for Brian Rocchio.
Good day for Hedgie too.
Good day for Austin Hedges.
If anyone did not see, I was tagged many times in this, but Austin Hedges proposed to his girlfriend today after the game on the field with a big billboard sign. So, quick congratulations out there to Austin and his new fiancee Lexi. We're all very, very happy for them. Um, yeah, like I said, I did not get a chance to watch the game today, so not super up to date on everything that happened, aside from the two Hosey home runs. And I did see that Rocchio did what 3 for 4 again. Like
Hmm.
Rocchio is just absolutely balling out. He had a good game yesterday, had a good game today. He seems to have really found his groove, offensively and defensively too. I remember this time last year, I feel like we were all really, really pissed off at him being where was he? Shortstop last year. Just his defense was not up to par, especially at the beginning of the year last year, I feel like. And I think he was still moving around the lineup too early last year until they finally decided to put him down at the bottom of the lineup in ninth. But since late last year, he has just locked in and he has been almost unstoppable, man.
The Italian stallion.
If you missed it on the broadcast today, Brian Rocchio got a shout out for being one of the most underappreciated members of Team Italy during the WBC, fondly dubbed the Italian Stallion by Matt Underwood. I don't know if we
Beautiful.
have a genetic breakdown on how Italian he really is, but
It's his grandpa, he was saying.
oh,
And I,
good.
I read something in an interview that his grandpa was. Now I don't know how much Italian. I don't know if he's like from Italy or he can just claim a little bit of ancestry somewhere, but it was through his grandpa, he said.
It must have been a joke online or a meme or something that said, "Oh, his name ends with O, put him on Team
Yeah.
Italy." And I imagine that's how Brian Rocchio ended up there for one game. I don't even know if he got in the game,
I think
but
he
he
had
was there.
one at bat and
Perfect.
I want to say he may have struck out. I
Yeah.
can't remember
So,
exactly, but he did not, unfortunately did not make an impact like we all had hoped.
well, he's making an impact now, and that's our
That's
Italian
when it
stallion, Brian
matters.
Rocchio.
Yes.
They did ask him if he enjoyed hitting ninth or why he was so comfortable there, and he just talked about being sandwiched in between Bo Naylor and Stephen Kwan and how they take pitches and it makes him comfortable. And he goes up there trying to help Stephen Kwan see a ton of pitches and in just really embracing that role, it's worked out for him. And he seems content and he seems at peace, which is something that he hasn't always been.
Hmm.
I don't know if we want to dive into this, and I don't really haven't looked into it enough to really discuss it, but Stephen Kwan's been struggling.
He has been struggling.
Yeah.
He tried to lay down a bunt a few times in his first couple of at-bats today. And not situational, not bunts that would have made sense, really. Like he was bunting for a hit. And that's just a sign of someone who doesn't feel good up there, who just doesn't trust his ability to get it hit. But he had an on-base streak coming into yesterday, did he not?
I think it was, yeah, coming into yesterday. Let's see here. Yeah, up until the 17th, it looks like. He was, sorry, I'm looking at his stats right now. Where are walks? There they are. Yeah, up until the 17th, it looks like he's gotten on base in some way. And then the last 2 days, literally nothing. No hits. How did he get an RBI today?
There might have been a.
Back fly, maybe.
Oh, yes, yeah. Hedgie got home run, a sac fly, didn't he?
Mhm.
But yeah, he's had three strikeouts over the past 2 days, one sac fly. He seems to be lost up there right now.
Which I think is interesting coming off an on-base streak, because I would have thought that would have you feeling good, but I just his body language in the first couple of at-bats really didn't look like a guy who felt comfortable up there. Hopefully he figures it out soon. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I
get a
think
little crazy and project a little bit and say I wonder for Stephen Kwan right now, no extension was done this spring. Is the writing on the wall for him? Does he feel like a message was received that this team doesn't plan on him being a part of their long-term plans? And I'm projecting right now because like I'm afraid of that. And as a fan of Stephen Kwan, I don't want that to happen. So I'm dooming a little bit. Like this might be a lot to just put out there and a lot like I don't know that Stephen Kwan's thinking about this at all. Hopefully he's not. But as a fan, I'm thinking about this. And you just wonder how much that affects the guy. Like, oh, this team didn't go out of their way. We've seen them offer contracts to people in spring training before, and it didn't happen for him. So I just wonder how much players think about that kind of thing and how much that can weigh on somebody.
It's definitely possible. He does have one more year. He'll be ARB 3 next year, and then at the end in 2028 is when he'll be a free agent. So there is one more chance at, coming to the table and seeing if they can figure something out. I don't know how likely that is. This is also going to be the year that Blitzer, I would assume that Blitzer is going to take a more active role coming up in this off season in discussing these contracts than he even did this past season. I know this past off season he was involved in Jose's extension, which is definitely a good sign. So one would hope slash assume that'll
Well,
have a say coming up also.
I guess the other thing is nobody got an extension this year, right?
Jose did.
Okay, yeah, Jose got one. And that okay, that to me is separate because if Jose wants one, he's gonna get one.
Yeah, I do
Um,
agree with that. I feel like that's a completely different thing.
yeah, like that to me doesn't like almost maybe they were operating under the assumption there's a lockout next year and then a new owner the year after that. Like we are gonna pause on talking about future financial commitments for now, except for this guy who really can have whatever he asks for at this point. So maybe I'll just stop dooming and think that that was it. Like that's the only things didn't get done because we're just in a really weird spot financially from an ownership and a lockout standpoint for the next couple of years. We're just not going to make any sort of commitments like that is what I'll that's what I'll chalk it up to instead. And Stephen Kwan's just having a rough couple of days and he'll be back out there tomorrow.
Yeah, I definitely think it's confidence related with him, whether that's related or not to the contract situation, who knows. I also think I don't know how much he's played center field this week or, just this season really, but I wonder if the change in position has kind of rattled him a little bit, or at least
I think
shifted
that's an
his focus.
interesting thought. It's going well. Like he looks good in center field, but how much time is he spending working on that instead of in the cages or working on a swing or things like that? Like maybe it's just taking a little bit away. So I
Mhm.
could
That's
see that just
definitely a
being widespread
possibility.
because he looks good in center field so far, I think.
Yeah, the catch he had was it last night, I think. Saturday night when I say last night, where he like ran into the wall and almost fell through the door.
Hmm. I mean, he's had some diving catches. He had a pretty cool double play
Yeah.
in St. Louis. Like the defense out there looks good, but how much effort is it taking from him to get to that point, and is that taking away from his hitting? It's a possibility. But he is too smart of a player to let something like this linger for long. And it's nice because other guys are picking him up. You know, you've got production from Brian Rocchio, you've got production from the guys hitting behind him. So it doesn't matter. Hopefully that takes a little bit of pressure off of him for now.
It's really, really nice to see because I feel like more of our lineup is starting to hit. I feel like last year and years past, really, it was Juan and Jose, and maybe one other guy might show up. And then the rest, it was, luck of the draw if they were going to get a hit tonight. But I feel like every game, somebody else is stepping up and becoming that guy. Like you don't feel like Jose has to, when he hits two home runs in a game, that's awesome, but he doesn't have to do that. Schneemann hit a grand slam. I know we didn't, win that game, but still, Chase seems to be hitting a little bit of a slump, which again, he's a rookie. I'm not expecting him to, again, hit a home run every single game. Hopefully he will work through that. But even with him slumping, the rest of the lineup is still, showing up and able to make things happen.
See, I think my problem is I do expect him to hit a home run every game because he did for long enough. Because the other day I was like, man, Chase has been slumping lately. And then he lines a double in the gap in center field, like immediately after I thought that. I think he just spoiled us for the first couple of weeks and he's coming back down to earth a little bit. The league is perhaps adjusting, but he'll adjust
Yeah,
back. And it's so nice that the rest of the guys have stepped up. If you pull up our offensive statistics and just look at like Daniel Schneemann has been one of our best players this year. And I don't,
it's crazy.
no knock on Daniel Schneemann, but I wouldn't have counted on that coming in. Angel Martinez has been very good. Here's the
He's
thing.
been super
I
impressive.
have always been a believer in Angel Martinez because he follows Jose Ramirez around everywhere. And I don't think Jose would allow that if you are not doing everything you can to be the best version of yourself.
Hmm.
Like I think that he just would have, if you weren't able to become this player, Jose would have kicked him to the curb a long time ago. So this is not surprising to me, but it's still really cool to see. And he just like he has so much fun playing baseball. I'm such an Angel Martinez fan. I love watching him figure this out and earn some playing time. And it's crazy to think about after all these years, but I think the team has some tough questions to ask later this season No hate, no shade to Juan Brito. I think if and when Arias gets healthy, Juan Brito's the odd man out. He had a nice little line drive RBI double today. That probably made him feel a little good, but the defense has been rough. I think it has cost us at least a game, perhaps two, if I'm remembering correctly. And so I think that's the easy answer to the question. But if Travis Bazzana looks ready at any point this year, I don't know who you lose. Because all of those guys that have kind of been are like, I don't think you can afford to lose Rocchio right now. You can't lose Schneemann. Um,
No, you definitely can't.
Gabby Arias was looking good before he went down. So it's a good problem to have, but I really didn't think this would happen. I gotta say, I'm positively shocked by the production that we're getting from our middle infield guys right now.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. It is definitely, I do not envy those people that need to make those decisions when hopefully at some point, it'll sort itself out and somebody will kind of like take themselves off the table, if you will. But yeah, I'm not sure. I do agree with you. Brito, unfortunately, was the one who missed the line. I don't even know if I would have called it a line drive, the hit that broke up Parker's no hitter the other day, which was just a heartbreaker because that kid was just dealing. I do now, like with how well Schneemann has been doing. I could not believe that they kept Brito in that inning and that they didn't sub him out for some solid defense. This could be, hindsight's 2020 or something, but I feel like Schneemann would have made that play.
I struggle. There's been a lot of talk lately about how Stephen Vogt likes to get his guys back out there, and like at a time where Juan Brito's confidence was probably pretty low, given how the week went. Vogt wanted to give him opportunities to prove himself, to build his confidence back up. And I get that pulling him for defense in that scenario probably knocks his confidence back down. But like, so does leaving him out there and that happening.
Yeah.
So I appreciate Vogt trusting his guys. And I watched all 8 innings of that game and then had something come up and had to turn it off at the ninth inning. So I watched it all and then missed that.
No,
So maybe it's my fault actually.
it
But my
is.
point being that I didn't see the play. So I don't really know that it was a play he should have made. Like, are we 100% sure that Daniel Schneemann would have made it? I don't know.
I could be gaslighting
Yeah.
myself.
Yeah,
I think it
I
more
don't know.
depends. I think it
But yeah,
depends on
I think,
where you're set up, really. Because
yeah.
I think just he was set up in a place where like he was just too far away.
And that's, can't blame him for that. But in that moment, I don't know. I think you make the defensive switch. It's hard to say. I don't know how many times we're gonna come that close to a no-hitter and not have one. I think I said this online a couple weeks ago, but it's baffling to me how many good pitchers we've had come out of this game or out of this organization in the past couple of years and not a single no-hitter. And I thought about that more this weekend because I believe it was Pete Alonso was on the Mets last year when Gavin almost no hit them. And then he's on the Orioles this year when Parker Messick almost no hit them. And Pete Alonso's got to hate this. Like he's got to hate facing Cleveland because it's not just that this happens every year. It's that this happens every year. It's a different guy, but don't you worry. Both guys are still around and you're going to have to still face them both.
Jimenez during the game. I think it was actually last night. Was it Gavin? Who pitched yesterday? Was it Gavin?
Gavin did pitch
I think so,
yesterday.
yeah.
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 Alonso did not have a good night yesterday. Or at least like if he did, he only got like one hit or something like that. I can't remember the exact stat line. But I remember Jimenez saying on broadcast, he's like, Gavin's got Alonso seeing ghosts, man. Like he just could not, and he looked like frustrated after every single at bat too. Dude just could not get it together with Gavin, which is fair because he's just when he's on, man, he looks absolutely impossible to hit. But yeah, that struck me as funny.
Yeah, we're so spoiled with this pitching staff. They're so
Truly.
every single guy is fun to watch.
Yeah, so we've got let's see here. We got Astros coming up and then we've got the Blue Jays. I'll be honest, I haven't been paying much attention to the Astros.
I want to say that they're bad.
I like that.
They got
And
switched by the
I'm gonna
Rockies.
continue and say baseball's in a weird spot this year. A lot of teams are really bunched up. Houston is 8 and
Oh,
15,
they are 8 and 15. Yeah.
which is one of the worst in the league right now. But I was checking the standings the other day and thinking how strange. Like it's a very even playing. I guess 8 and 15 is just not very good. Um, but there's not a lot. There's not a huge distance
Jesus
between
Christ.
good teams and bad teams
The
right
the
now.
Rockies swept them
Yeah, that I
the other week. Not so
watched that unfold. It was beautiful.
they've seen the Rockies twice in the past like 2 weeks. So when they were in Colorado, the Rockies swept them. And then the Rockies came to Houston and the Astros took 2 of 3 against
Well, and I
them.
guess what's going like are they rebuilding this year or is
I
it
don't know
just an
what's
ugly
going
season?
on with
Well, no,
them.
they just signed Correa in the offseason. A rebuilding team wouldn't have done that.
I just don't think they have pitching. I think that's their issue because they got rid of
Framber went to Detroit.
Fromber, and then I
Oh
can't
yeah.
even think of anybody else on their team who's half decent.
We've got Colton Gordon coming up tomorrow night with a 9.95 ERA. So that's how that's going. I don't
Yeah,
know who's
never heard
next.
of them.
Never heard of him. Who we got Tuesday? Spencer Arrighetti. I have heard of that one.
Hmm.
That's a name.
That's a name.
So yeah, that could be an interesting series. We're going to be in Houston for those 3 games. So there's a chance of things. And also, the Blue Jays haven't been very good this year
They've also
either,
not been
right?
very good. No.
The World
Baseball's in a
Series
weird place,
hangover.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I mean, oh, but they did beat the Diamondbacks today 10-4. So hopefully they're feeling. Yeah, I've got nothing against the Blue Jays. I've always, they're my team in the North if I had to choose one, but there was something off about them a little bit earlier. I've been seeing some people. Yeah, they're 8 and 13 too. They're definitely not a what you would assume out of a team that literally just got out of the World Series. But aren't they having some injury problems too, specifically like with their pitching or something like that?
Yeah, I think Bieber's hurt right now.
Yeah, Bieber still hasn't come
No,
back.
I believe Trey Savage is still not pitching, maybe
Ah.
rehabbing. So they've got some guys that they would be counting on that they don't have. And again, it's early, like 8 and 13 is not an insurmountable. Like this might be the
Oh
first
yeah.
season in a long time where there's no team that is so bad that you know it's never getting better. Like you look at the NL Central, and I think every single team has a 12 and 9 record. Like that division's going to be insane. I mean, a lot could change. I guess it's still early, but Kansas City at 7 and 15 is the worst in baseball. Like who would have thought? Who would have thought? Poor Royals.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I mean, I'm not mad. Less competition for us, I guess.
Yeah,
But
Surprised they're doing worse than the White Sox.
that is
there's
upsetting for
only like
them.
a game difference, and we'll see how it goes. But the White Sox have been through enough. Like as much as I want to hate, those fans deserve something to celebrate, I think.
The Mets are not doing well either. That's another one. They're 7 and 15 right now.
They just got swept by the Twins.
No,
Woof.
and
Or no,
okay, so I want to be supportive and empathetic to other baseball fans, but I saw some conversation online about how hard it is to root for a baseball team when they're not good and they're not winning and all of your favorite players have left. So there's no one on the team left that you love watching play. And it just made me think of when the Mets took Lindor from us. And like, you know what? I'm so happy that a large market team is having to experience what we all have to experience all the time. Like, I feel bad for you, but also I don't. The rest of us live like this all the time. You'll survive.
Well,
Um,
also there is like kind of another like a twisted knife in the gut that they're one of the highest spending teams too. It's like, oh, so we
and it's
spent
not
all
good.
this money, but we still suck. Like, what is happening? Where is the disconnect? What's happening
Well,
here?
and then my heart breaks a little bit for Francisco Lindor, who is still a
Yes.
guy that I would love to watch play. But I think there's been a lot of question marks around his leadership and the culture because he's the guy there now. He's the only one left, and the culture is still not good. So I think there are a lot of questions being asked about him and whether he can still be that guy.
That makes
And
me
it just makes
sad.
me sad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Correction.
Francisco.
They just got swept by the Cubs. They play the Twins this week.
great. Well, we could use them to bounce back against the Twins. We could use a little help.
Yeah.
When do we play the Twins? It's a minute before it looks like we play them. Second weekend in May. They're coming.
Hmm.
We got back to back. We got back to back Central. We're in Kansas City and then we come home and play the Twins. Oh, and then the
Gonna
Tigers just another week later. So May is a busy month when it comes to the Central.
time to lock in, boys.
Hell yeah. So I'm looking on Twitter and I just saw they posted a little bit of they post some post-game interviews on there and there's one from it looks like today, Mason Horadiski. Mason, I'm sorry if I just murdered your last name. Great follow, by the way. He posts a lot of the post-game videos on here. But there's an interview with Hosey from tonight, talking specifically on Rocchio, saying as long as he keeps bringing that energy, he's going to lead the way for other players to play that way. So, like we've talked about a little bit before, Jose obviously sees something in Angel, but he also sees something in Rocchio and really appreciates the way that he's playing. And then there's another little goodbye from the end of their interview where they're walking off stage. And Hosey goes over and he gives Brian a really big hug. And it's just really sweet to see. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like Hosey is being a little bit more like open and joyous this season. I was really interested after they debuted the home run helmet if Hosey was going to be into it or not, because there was definitely a part of me that was like, ooh, sometimes he can be like really serious and very like business, but he seems to be a little bit more, I don't know, goofy and fun this year. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it.
Bringing that up, it makes my thoughts go in a lot of different directions. And the first one I'm going to say, because it's quick, there have long been rumors that Hosey did not get along with a certain, or I don't want to say didn't get along with, was not the biggest fan of a certain former closer who may be part of a federal investigation. And I do not know how much this really impacted the day to day in the locker room, but like, when you don't have to be around someone every day that you don't really like, doesn't it just lighten you up a little bit? And so maybe that's like maybe that has been I'm probably blowing that out of proportion. Um,
I mean, there's
like I don't
definitely
think
that definitely could be part of it. I would not be surprised if, that there, even if it's an unacknowledged part of it, um, I could see
and
the
it's just
just a
especially who like
dampening.
if that guy was breaking rules consistently and no one knew how to police it. Like it's not just A, they didn't get along, B, he was doing things that were obviously bad, but it's there's one guy on the team who is not meeting the standard that everyone else is held to. Does that make the clubhouse a little bit weird? So, and again, that might be nothing, but it's just a fleeting thought. The other thing I was going to say based on your assessment of the vibes and the culture will tie back into the Mets is that because the Mets have lost 10 games, the stat is out there floating around that only once before has a team lost 10 games and still made the playoffs, and it was the 2025 Cleveland Guardians. And I, because the end of the season was so much fun, forgot that they had ever lost 10 games in a row until I remembered. Because remember, there was a quote from Slade Ciccone that came out during, I think when it was an 8-game losing streak, where he said, "We show up every day believing that we're a good team, and that at the end of the year, we'll all look back at this and laugh because good things are going to happen to us, and we really believe that." And at the time, I was like, "You're being delusional, but I needed to hear it, so I love you." And it turns out he was right.
He was
Um,
absolutely right.
and from that moment on, I was like, I don't know if Slade Cecconi's a good pitcher, but he says the right things when I need to hear them. And that is my emotional support Cleveland Guardian right now. And he still is. And I can't believe I forgot the 10-game losing streak because it gave me that. But my point here is that today, when that stat was brought up on the broadcast, Matt and Rick were talking about how good this team's culture is. and how you would have never known walking in the clubhouse that they were in the middle of a 10-game losing streak because the culture never changed and that the locker room was loose and that it was positive and guys were having fun and enjoying being around each other. And I'm happy that we're getting to see more of that this year because it sounds like that's always been this team, but you're right. I do think it's been a lot more visible. And it's just a lot more fun to root for a team that's having fun. And we were not very good this time last year, so maybe it
Yeah.
wasn't easy to see. There's just a little more to celebrate this time around. So I think that's a lot to do with it. But you're right. It's been a lot of fun, not only to watch the games, but to watch the little interaction in between plays where you can just tell this group of guys they love being around each other, and it just makes it so much fun to watch and to root for.
Yeah, who on the Mets is going to be that guy who steps up and says, I believe in us? I
I
can't
think
think
you
of
could have
anybody,
cut
honestly.
that sentence at who on the Mets
Yeah.
because Francisco Lindor and question mark. But no, you're right. The Mets are the cool New York team, so for that reason, I want them to figure it out. But also, again, my sympathy for such a big market team is so low. Like, I also just don't care if they do. So, I don't know.
Sorry to Ash.
I'm sorry, Ash. I'm sorry, but the Guardians got you.
Yep. You can just ignore the Mets for right now. You can just enjoy the Guards. Thinking back on last night's Saturday's game again, when Rocchio hit that home run, he comes, touches home base and they all celebrate with him and they zoom in and Hoskins grabs Rocchio around the head and like drags him bodily back to the dugout as they're like celebrating and he's like smacking him and stuff. It was just like it feels like a weird pair, Hoskins and Rocchio. I would have never like placed those two together. And I'm sure it was just kind of like I'm so excited that you hit the home run. Yay, good job. But it was just such a cute moment too. It, had my
I'm amazed at how Reese Hoskins looks like he belongs here. Like
right?
it's hard. I mean, we don't sign a lot of guys like veteran free agents that come in, and he looks like because all these guys grew up playing together and they grew up in the minor leagues together, and he
Yeah.
did. You would never know by watching the way they
No.
interact, and that's so cool. I'm a Reese Hoskins fan. You're right. That moment was beautiful.
I saw it and I just could not stop grinning. I'm like, this is adorable. I was talking to I think it was on it was on Twitter a little bit ago. There was let me see if I can find my original tweet. I have some family lore that I have decided. Oh, it was when Chase DeLauder, when the Guardians and the Cavs were in the same hotel in LA, and Chase went to go introduce himself to the Cavs, and he said, "I'm from Cleveland too." And it just made me think like he was like this just giddy little kid who just saw someone from across the room wearing like the same t-shirt as him, saying, guys, I'm from Cleveland too, guys. Just like getting all hyped up about it. So then Sam, someone on Twitter responded that it was little brother energy. So Rocchio used to be the little brother of the family, but now he's graduated to middle child, which I feel like fits his energy better. I feel like he's
Yeah,
more
and that's
middle
why he's
child.
acting out this year. Like he's
Exactly.
making noise because he's the forgotten middle child, you know?
Exactly. So Chase is obviously the baby of the family now.
Hmm.
Jose is the harassed older brother. Hedges is dad's brother, who is 20 years
Count
younger
on
than the
both
dad
that
and an
matchup.
oops baby.
Hmm.
Carl Willis is grandpa, or if you've ever heard of Eliza Schlesinger, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. I apologize. She's a comedian, very funny. But she does this bit on Pip Pop about how Pip Pop's so cute. This is my Pip Pop, guys. But Pip Pop has 20 confirmed kills in Vietnam. So
That sounds about right.
Carl Willis is Pip Pop. And now Reese Hoskins is the stepdad. He is the dad who stepped up.
I can see that. I love that.
So that is,
This analogy is gonna have to continue to grow.
mhm. Oh, it will. So if you see anything that wants to add to the lore of the Guardians family, that's where we're at right now when it comes down to it. But I'm sure it will grow but yeah, that moment where Reese like took Rocchio and gave him kind of a big goofy hug like that. I'm like, oh, stepdad. That's big stepdad energy.
Hmm. I
And
agree. I
Guardians
love it.
Guardians family tree.
There's a meme or some sort of graphic to be made out of this. Someone who's better at that than I am can do that.
Michael Hook, you're being called.
Yeah. I want to do a nickname corner, and I only have two shout outs to put here.
Please.
But I mean, Brian Rocchio Italian Stallion has to stick because it's so funny. Because is he even Italian? I don't know. Um,
He
but
could just be forging everything right now. Who knows?
yeah, and hey, he was on their team.
He
He
was.
I didn't watch or see him in the dugout, so that could also be false, but I believe he was on their team. But Joey on Twitter has started saying that when Joey Cantillo pitches, it's time for the Hawaiian punch out. Um,
I love that.
and I love it. And I don't even Joey hasn't been much of a strikeout guy. Like there's been a lot of ground balls, more of a pitch to contact guy. I don't care. He's Hawaiian punch out now. And I don't know if there's anyone else I want to shout out, but I think nicknames are important and everyone has to have good ones. So
Yes. Those are definitely good ones, and I agree. Was that Jopey on Twitter that called him Hawaiian Punch Out?
no, it wasn't. It was just
Oh, Guards Joey.
at Guards Joey. Yeah. And I believe he's the one I've seen say it twice. If somebody else said it before him and I'm thinking of two different people that said it, that's my bad. But yeah, I think that's a good nickname.
I enjoy it. Yes, I am always, always up for a good nickname.
I mean, Big Rig is obviously
Oh,
pretty
Big
good.
Rig
I like that
is
that one caught on.
I think
I
Jose is called, I thought I saw something that his nickname is Enriquito. I've never heard anybody call him that.
Well, and I started a little drama the other week because I posted that meme that said stop trying to make J-Ram happen because I just firstly I think it's ugly and secondly nobody around the team calls him that.
No
But
one calls him that, but fans of other teams.
yeah, I would say national media calls him that and then so people who follow the team very casually and only get their information through national media maybe call him that. I'll give our I'll give I'll walk that back a little bit and say like we just call him Hosey or Jose because we don't really have any other Jose that we would be referring to. And the national media cannot be on a first name basis. Perhaps they should be, but I understand why they're not. So I'll give them a little grace in using that nickname, but I still hate it. So there.
there is just something off-putting about it.
Mhm.
It's just
I
ugly.
don't like it.
J-Ram, that doesn't sound good coming out of the mouth. Anyway.
Has a poor mouthfeel.
Who's the Guardians Spanish broadcaster?
Rafa? No, is that the Cavs?
I think he does both.
You know
Anyway,
what? Actually,
I,
yeah,
he calls Manzardo Luigi.
I like that. That's
that's
good.
beautiful. Yes. No, that fits. That fits.
I want the elaboration, but it's almost better without one.
I mean, I would assume it's just the mustache.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
that's
I think that was he explained it on Twitter at one point, and it was something to the effects of like he likes it and it's the mustache.
Because he definitely doesn't give me Mario vibes.
no.
I don't know why, but I definitely feel more Luigi from him. So yeah, I'll go with that. I agree. Luigi's a good one for him. Yeah, I can't think of anything off the top of my head for the rest of them. But yeah, I'm sure something will come as time goes on. I can't remember if we mentioned this as I'm scrolling through a little bit looking at a couple highlights, but Angel Martinez had two fantastic catches in left field today. Just some really good diving catches. So it's good to see that he's and Fry in right field had a really good catch too.
Yeah,
Um
I think he's a better outfielder than catcher. I've come to this conclusion based off like one sample size of a game.
I think that's
But
also why it's so important that he play the field literally. Like he
mhm.
gets out and he plays all of these other positions because I really do think I'm I've always been a big truther that I thought that he could get back to that early 2024 David Fry that we saw who became an all-star and then the injury derailed. I still have a little bit of hope for that, but I'm not sure if we'll see him come back. I think we just need to see if as he plays more and as he gets more comfortable in the field, if that comes back at some point. I hope so.
Well, and he's in a really tough spot because love and hate to say it, but a lot of other guys are hitting really well. So I mean, he's
Yeah.
not going to play unless he's facing a lefty.
Yeah, you can't play him over Schneeman right now.
Yeah.
That's not
And
possible.
it's hard because there's just a lot of other guys who are hitting and You got to keep him in the lineup every day. So tough spot to be David Fry. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Again, I am not envious of the people that have to make these decisions about who gets the play time and why.
You get Gabriel Arias healthy, and I'm like content with the roster for now. Like this might be, and I'm not even like I'm content for it where it is now with no changes. Like I fine rolling with Brito and not playing him when you need great defense. Like I don't think this is the most comfortable I've been with a roster at this point in the season in a long time. So that's a cool spot to be in.
No one thought we would be in this spot during
No.
spring training. I feel like everyone was like, I feel like we were saying the opposite thing. Like there are so many guys that could go to get Bazana here. Who are we gonna like? We could let go of X, Y, or Z, and now we're like, we don't want to get rid of anybody.
No, keep
We're
them all
happy.
here. I love them.
Can we have 30 guys?
Well, and it is just wild to look at our schedule and like every team we've played has been good. Like I don't think there's been a quote unquote bad team on our schedule yet. And to be where we are, like no complaints.
No, yeah, I'm overall.
I guess the Cardinals are like, but again, that division looks really good. No one expected them to be good, but they are. But
Yeah, what is happening in the National Central right now? I
I'm so
I
excited
looked
to
at
see
that. I'm
what
like, what
happens
the
in that
hell?
division over the course of the year because no way all of
That's
those teams are that good.
no, that's crazy.
And if they are, that's fantastic.
Good
I'm
for
all
them. Glad
for,
it's
I
not me.
mean, yeah, you got to make up for the AL Central being trash. So shout out to the other half of the Midwest for holding their end of the bargain.
Thanks to
Um,
our National League cousins.
yeah, for making the non-coastal cities look okay. I am very curious to see who from that division makes it out at the end.
All right. Well, I think that will be it for this episode. Thank you, Janelle and Allie, for joining me. Nicole, again, we missed you. Feel better.
Feel better, Nicole.
And as always, thank you to all of you for turning in. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcasting app and all our social channels so you don't miss a thing. We are going to be next week introducing our very first, what we're going to call Across the Diamond, where we are going to invite a fan of another team to come on and chat baseball with us. So keep an eye on our socials for that as to which fan we are inviting on and who will be joining us next week. So, again, follow our socials so you don't miss that. And as always, whether you are here for the hot takes, the heartbreaks, or the home runs, don't get caught looking. Go Guards.
Go Guards and go Caps.
Go Cavs. Yes. Playoff Cavs. Let's go.